Day 61. It's getting a little late tonight. Again, signed the contract with myself, always going to do these videos. I got very invested earlier today in trying to learn how to play the guitar, which actually I'm going to kind of loop that into some of the topic today. But as I get into the topic, I'll start by saying this. I was listening to a podcast. I know that's such a cliche statement at this point with everyone. It's like every bit of information someone gains is based off something they've heard off a podcast. So hang with me here. Again, I know it's cliche, but I will say, listening to other people's perspectives that have either more wisdom than me or have lived more life than me on this earth, I try to take little tidbits away so I can, first of all, gain knowledge and some wisdom, but also to avoid pitfalls or mistakes that other people have made. And, I try not to overdo it, but just trying to pay attention to words of people that I either respect or trust. And ironically, because I was listening to this podcast and learning from this fella, what I'm about to say is going to be a little bit ironic, but he was talking about this theme that we as people consume so much more information than people before us, because there is just a plethora of information on social media, on YouTube, and information in all different types of categories, especially when it comes to entertainment. And basically what he was saying is, like, the last 20 years has been so different than the many years before, because now people so much err on the side of consumption versus actually doing. And he was like, let me give you an example. Back in the day, adults used to play sports. Adults used to learn music. Adults used to learn how to work on vehicles. They erred on the side of just doing stuff, figuring it out. And because of immediate gratification and distraction with phones, and I know I sound old, but with just phones and social media and just a plethora of information being shoved down our throat, we have gotten in these habits and rhythms where we're just consuming and not doing, which is great if you just want to be entertained all day long. But the problem is when that gets out of balance and we're just entertained and we're seeking entertainment, it leads to just daily distraction, to where one day you wake up and you haven't taken care of your body, you haven't taken care of honing in on skills and refining those skills as things that inevitably change. And you just wake up one day realizing that you spent an entire lifetime really of just inaction, because consumption is inaction. Inaction meaning like you're not actually doing anything. Again, like my grandparents, it's like they were in adult softball leagues. My grandpa also, did all the work on his vehicles, learned how to play guitar. So I started today like feeling very convicted by this message. But again, the problem is when we spend so much of our lives just consuming on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, at the end of the day, we become robbed of the real human experience. And again, not all that's like in malicious or like negative, like bad intent when you find, songs that you really, really like, because I like music and I like consuming that, It's not all like in bad intent, or people really like to watch a sports team, so they watch that team. But if it gets out of balance and you're living your life to consume content that someone else is making that's of this world, I just guarantee you that you're not going to be filled, and you're certainly not going to be maximizing your own potential. So again, a lot of those worldly examples of consuming content aren't like inherently bad things. There are also, though, some content that people consume and it starts maybe with them just dipping their toe in it, but then they're actually like consuming things regularly that are not healthy and that are inherently actually bad. And I won't get into a ton of that, but people that instead of having like the sanctity of marriage and enjoying the sacred part of sex, I'll just say it, people consuming lustful content online, that's just not real. Like those things that they're looking up, it's not real. And people that get in the patterns of doing that there's so many reports out there, like the long-term negative effects on your mind and the desensitization. So that's the message today, is like we are living in a new age of consumption, and I've just, with everything in me, I'm trying to break away from that and just getting out and doing stuff, like getting stronger in the gym, learning a new skill instead of mindlessly scrolling. Like I think I spent 4 hours my first day trying to learn the guitar today. Kind of figuring it out slowly. It's going to take about 100 more of those nights to even be decent, probably 1,000 more of those nights to be fairly good. But I look forward to that because I want a real experience. I want to do, and I don't want to consume as much. So the verses I have today are the book of Titus, chapter 2, and it's verses 11 through 12. And I read it in the NIV and the New Living Translation. I'm gonna actually read this one through the New Living Translation, which my church encourages us to read a couple different translations of the Bible. It can be healthy, and in just terms of trying to understand, and the New Living Translation helped me understand this passage a little bit more. So in verse 11 and 12 in Titus 2, it says, "For the grace of God has been revealed, bringing salvation to all people. And we are instructed to turn from godless living and sinful pleasures. We should live in this evil world with wisdom, righteousness, and devotion to God." So it says again, the grace of God has been revealed to us. It's bringing salvation to anyone that accepts that gift. And we're instructed to turn from this godless living that we can just get into these patterns that are of this world. These patterns of just distraction and consumption is kind of how I'm translating that to my experience. And again, it just goes on to say, like, in these sinful pleasures. But we should find a way to live in this evil world, but not of it. Because instead we should chase wisdom, righteousness, and devotion to God. So those are the verses today. And it's like, again, we're all still living in this world, whether we like it or not. We're in this world, but I don't want to live of the world where it's like I'm reliant on my 9 social media accounts, which I don't have any anymore. But like at one point in my life, I'm sure all of us at some point have gotten addicted to just like posting things out and getting attention. And it's like, I've got 3 people maybe that listen to these things. I don't mind. I'm trying to like optimize to be the best version I can be. I still fail daily, but I don't want to be the guy that's like scrolling on a TikTok account mindlessly and just becoming desensitized to everything around me, jealous of what other people have, and just consuming things without any action in my own life. Like, stop with the dopamine hits of immediate gratification via consumption and just go get a sweat in, learn something difficult, fail, reach above your comfort zone, and then overcome and adapt, and then fail again maybe a little bit, and then finally achieve, and then you can be proud of something that you've then that you've obtained, and then you can work to protect that and hone that skill even better. Like, that's just what's on my heart today. I thought it kind of made sense as I was stepping into the world of actually trying to learn something new. So I'll keep you all updated on that journey with the guitar. I'm sure it's going to be an interesting one. But again, I'm so far from perfect. I just want to I just want to live real life and not be a consumer looking at what everyone else is posting and doing 24/7. That's what's on my heart today. That's day 61.